Country's economy often takes a huge knock due to poor road infrastructure. The bad state of our roads make it difficult to transport goods and services. To understand how deep the impact goes, we're now joined by independent economic analyst, Dr. Bonke Dumisa. Doctor, thank you for your time today. I think we often don't quite understand the total scope of the impact of our poor road infrastructure on our economy. Can you help us by sketching the picture for us?
Okay, yeah, I will try and be as simple as possible just to paint the picture. So I will not get into too much quantity issue. I'll deal with qualitative issues. The South African railways system was in the past right at the center of the economic growth of the country, and that's why that you'll find then that in Durban, in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, the center of the town as it was then, I mean, the CPDs there, you will have the major station there and everything would revolve around that. But what happened subsequently after 1994, you had a situation where the railway systems had their own challenges and there was political interference. And then it is at that stage then that you saw the role of the railway networks really going down. And because they could no longer deliver as much as they delivered in the past, then you saw the mushrooming of the trucks all over. People did not have as many trucks in the past on the road as we see now. And some people thought that was good for the economy, but it was not good for the economy because the influx of all those trucks left many travelers, many drivers no longer being able to enjoy driving because they're blocked by trucks, as it is now. For those who drive past Richards Bay, they could not drive through that for a number of hours because there were two trucks which were involved in a major accident there, and there are trucks for 15 kilometers before you come to the Richards Bay Harbor, which are blocking the road. So we must go back to the rail network. The problem then is if we go back to the rail network to do everything, how will it be able to deal with all the volumes then that it could not deal with over the past 20 years or so? And that's the major challenge which is facing Transnet. But to make things worse, Transnet has had its own major problems over the past 2.5 decades. They're being accused of corruption and all the jazz. And you had people then building on railway networks, etc. And then that also affected Transnet a lot. So which means to solve the rail system issues, you cannot just simply say, Transnet, sort out yourself. You must have political will to deal with all the other things then that pushed people out of the rail networks. We need them back. All these trucks which are carrying cars between Durban and Gauteng and between Cape Town and Gauteng are not doing good service to the roads. And we need to get them back on the railway systems. The same way with all those trucks, which I said, they take about 15 kilometers waiting to go to Richards Bay. We need to sort out those things. There must be political will to do so. I'm not sure if ever it's still there.
Absolutely, Doctor. Now, we'll get to the Grand Road Master Plan that they're hoping to finish by 2024 in a bit. That is seeking to address some of these issues that you are raising. But besides the fact that the bad state of our roads is making it very difficult for us to transport goods and services, there's also the huge amount of money that's being spent on repairs due to the lack of maintenance of our road infrastructure, would you say?
I fully agree with you there. And the question is, why is that money not being used on repairing those roads? I normally drive to Lesotho at least once a year, driving from Durban. I can tell you I'm always having a problem driving between Bethlehem and Maseru, because the state of the roads there is so bad that at one stage the residents of one town in the Free State decided to use the tractors to remove the gravel and say it's better that we drive on these roads without gravel. Though that's the political will I'm talking about. Is the government really interested in dealing with these things, or it will talk about potholes when opposition parties raise that thing? So for us to solve our economic growth challenges, there must be a willingness on all parties to deal with the things which are not just symptoms, but which are the causes of the collapse of the South African economy.
Now, Doctor, as I alluded to earlier, it said that the Department of Transport hopes to finish the road master plan by 2024. And part of that is also government's intention to develop new funding models for the maintenance of the roads. What do you make of that?
You know, I many times I'm put under pressure to say the government is wrong, and I say no, let us look at both sides. But let me be honest, the government has so many master plans and so many plans. It's time that we make sure that these plans are actually being implemented, not just creating them, because sorting out the road infrastructure does not need so many plans. We will end up in a situation like we find ourselves in electricity, where we can no longer really deal with the whole thing, and it's affecting everyone. So the government has got to deal with this thing. It's not a question of the money required. It is, if you deal with the stretch of road between here and there and you sort it out and you move on like that, it's not going to be so much of an issue. It is because of all the other issues that people say are the real issues behind the state of our roads. Let us take back our roads to what they were long before 1994. You will see the economy going back to the figures above 2% economic growth rate, because we are destroying this economy by not maintaining our roads, by allowing lawlessness, which allows people to invade the railway tracks, and not dealing decisively with the malfeasance that we see at SOEs like Transnet.
Now, Doctor, I'm left with less than a minute, but we are feeling it even in our personal budgets because, for instance, all these potholes are causing us to have to repair our tires, and we have to pay the excess for our insurance, for instance. Just very briefly, within maybe 30 seconds, talk to me about the impact that motorists are feeling in their own personal pockets.
When the people who drive on the road have their cars messed up by the potholes, it means they've got to use the money to buy those tires and repair them, and that money could have gone to the retailers who are selling the food that people can no longer buy because they've got to attend to cars. And if ever you cut down the disposable income of the consumers, then you destroy the economy. So these things are all interlinked, and we've got to sort them out all at the same time.
Doctor, we really appreciate your insights today. That was the independent economic analyst, Dr. Bonke Dumisa. Now, you've